Hey everyone, it's Aesah, and welcome to my video on the mental checklist. Frequently, TFT players, myself included, will find themselves bot forwarding a very unusual amount of times that's a little too much to be chalked up to just random variance. So there's 5 things I think that are very important to make sure that you have while you're playing TFT. That's the single biggest factor on your performance. So recently, I had a really bad loss streak here. I went from 800 LP all the way down to 400. Demoted out of Challenger. Barely made it back now. But you can see like bot forming quite a lot of games in a row. Um, I am definitely not immune to not playing under the best conditions myself. In fact, I would say I'm actually not even that good at it. Um, but the 5 things that I was missing, and I was missing a lot of these while I was playing, contributed to kind of my downfall here, where yes, there is variance of the game. You can lower roll your shops, but by far the biggest factor of variance in TFT, by far, it's not even close, is a variance within your own mind. So yeah, so the 5 things. Number one is exercise. I think for me, like I noticed that I hadn't been exercising much recently, and this actually affects your play a lot in TFT. When you exercise, your body is just healthier, your blood flows better, it gets to your brain works better. If you're not getting these things done, basically your brain might only be working at like 90% of its capacity, and that's actually a big factor. That there's a huge difference there, and that's just going to lead to a lot of bot fours. The second thing is sleep. Sleep, I think, kind of goes hand in hand with exercise. It just makes sure you're these are all kind of similar. Actually, they just make sure that your body is operating at full efficiency. If you're not sleeping well, there's a good chance that you're not playing well. You're gonna miss decisions that if you were to watch the VOD back later, you're like, wow, how did I miss that? I know, like for me, sometimes I'll focus too much on like trait web units and not just playing my strongest board. For example, I might have a board I might have a board like this, and then I look into my shop. Let's say I have like a 2-star Alistar. I look into my shop, and if I'm not thinking too clearly, I might just throw in a Shaco because it activates a trait instead of playing a unit like, for example, like a Yumi, which is just a strong. This is just a stronger board than putting a Shaco on my board because Yumi is just a much better unit. It doesn't have to be Yumi exactly. It could be something like a Varus. Again, not activating a trait, but it's just a better unit than putting in Shaco. So I find that when I am not playing at top form, I might like miss something like this in my shop. This is just a really simple example from stage 2. Um, I tend to think the early stages have the least amount of variables, so they're the easiest to kind of diagnose the issues of, wow, I'm making some really obvious mistakes here. So the third one is hydration, and again, this kind of goes hand in hand. You just need it to operate at max capacity. So just make sure you're drinking enough water. Fourth one, very similar, is food. Your brain needs food to function. Um, Ideally, you're eating some decent food as well, but honestly, just food in general to get that energy. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to think clearly. And the last one is a little bit different than the rest because the others are kind of more like long term. I would say it's oxygen. I find that after a bot 4, and it's not just me, it's very, very common in all TFT players. After a single bot 4, you might feel consciously completely fine, but you might subconsciously be breathing a little bit different. This is very, very common for all TFT players. Even like Wage and Iverson, of course, regarded as one of the best players in North America. I saw that he recently had a run of 7 bot 4s in a row. This is just, less than a week ago. And I'm not trying to pick on Wage and Iverson or anything. This happens to literally every single player. But if you were to calculate the odds of that, he top fours about 2/3 of his games. So the chance of the bot falling times in a row, 1/3 to the 7th. And if we make this a percentage, multiply by 100, it's a lot less than 1%. It's 0.05%. So basically, this is not random chance. It's just because what happens, and again, not trying to pick on Wei-Jin, it happens to me as well. I mean, we can look at my own profile that we were looking at earlier. What happens is you bot for a game, you consciously think you feel fine, but subconsciously you're not breathing properly, you're not getting enough oxygen, your brain is just not working as well as it normally does, and then that causes you to bot for again, and it's just a continuous cycle. So again, if you're finding yourself struggling with TFT, a lot of people kind of think it's maybe the patch difference or they don't know the meta, but the most likely scenario is you're missing one of the 5 things on the checklist: exercise, sleep, hydration, food, and oxygen. If you got those 5 things, you should be doing good in your TFT climb. That's going to wrap it up for this video. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions in the Discord.